The better men and women understand each other, the more they'll accept each other's differences. And that can serve as a very big help in their relationship. I doubt that there will be a subject that will be more difficult to address than this one, explaining male-female differences. And why? Because people live in denial. The denial is one I encountered when I was in college. That's a long time ago, when I was told, at, I might add, an elite Ivy League university, that there are no differences between men and women, just physical ones. And I knew then there was something wrong at my college, that I am being told something so foolish, that there are no real differences between men and women. It has caused terrible havoc in the lives, especially of women, but certainly of men as well. This major denial of major differences between the sexes.
Addressing gender equity,
feminine, whatever that means.
Love whomever
If you want to get along with the opposite sex, you've got to try to understand you, and you've got to try to understand the opposite sex. That's why this is so important, and that's why this is so difficult. So, let's deal with this with the acknowledgement that, of course, men and women have a tremendous amount in common. A good man and a good woman have a lot in common. Goodness. A smart man and a smart woman have a lot in common. And by the way, I don't believe that either sex is innately more intelligent than the other, not because it's a nice thing to say, but because I've met so many brilliant people of each sex, and by the way, a fair number of dummies of each sex. It seems to be somewhat equal. Men and women have a lot in common. Let's also acknowledge that not every difference applies to every single male and every single female. But as I have often said, if you can't generalize, you are truly a dummy. Generalizing is the way in which we make sense out of life. We generalize all the time. We have to make generalizations, but they have to be intelligent generalizations, and you always have to offer examples to make your point about the generalization, and that's what I will be doing. I admit that there are always exceptions, but if we don't understand the general truths of life, then we cannot make any sense out of life. So, let's begin with some innate mental differences. Here is a quote from one study. The inferior parietal lobule, which controls numerical brain function, is larger in males than in females. On standardized tests, men often score higher on mathematical tests than women. I don't see a problem with acknowledging that, but I want to note that this difference exists. Males are more prone to autism, ADHD, and Tourette's syndrome, while women are more susceptible to mood disorders like anxiety and depression. As the list continues, women tend to remember all the details while men usually keep the main point in mind. Virtually everyone who has lived with, been married to a member of the opposite sex, again, virtually everyone knows how true that is. Women remember the details, for example, of a conversation. Men remember the bottom line. God, is that ever true? And it leads to certain miscommunications because sometimes women think that the man wasn't listening. So I have a very helpful thing to say to the wives watching this video. It is not true that your husband does not listen.
You won't listen for a minute.
So, you didn't mean a word of what you said yesterday, did you?
No, that's not what I meant.
Your husband does listen. He doesn't remember. That's really significant. And you do remember. In fact, women's memories are sometimes in marriage a problem because she will remember something he said 10 years ago or did 10 years ago, and he doesn't remember exactly what was said or done yesterday. This is not a flaw. This is just a feature. Men, and I am one of them, I remember the bottom line. I don't remember the details on how we got there.
You did talk to her, didn't you?
Frankly, I forgot to do it. It slipped my mind.
What? Really?
You've forgotten our anniversary.
That's right, dear. Oh, no. No. I was just trying to tease you.
Men do not take things as personally, as insultingly, if you will, as women do. Here's a Harvard report of a study. While men can be aggressive and combative, a new study shows that from the tennis court to the boxing ring, modern equivalents of one-on-one conflict, men are more likely than women to make peace with their competitors after the competition ends. Using videos of 4 sports in 44 countries, the professors found that, quote, men are far more likely to engage in friendly physical contact, handshakes, back pats, and even hugs following competition than women are. Ultimately, Professor Joyce Benenson said, quote, the implications of this study could reach far beyond the boundaries of the playing field. What we're talking about is women having a harder time when they have to compete with other women. Studies have shown that when 2 females compete in the workplace, they feel much more damaged afterward. I think this is something human resources professionals should be aware of so they can mitigate it.
All I need to know is, who do you think you are?
Pretty much all of you know this. You don't need a Harvard report on this. So I'll give you another example. When men really like each other, they insult each other.
You're a chump.
Imagine 2 guys, good friends, even good acquaintances, and they're both at a banquet or something, and one guy goes to the other, you know, Jack, you are really ugly. The other guy will probably insult him back. They'll both crack up, and in man speak, they will know they really like each other. It is inconceivable that the closest female friends in the world would make such a rib. Cindy, you really look ugly tonight. That could easily end a 25-year friendship. Men are also much more physically aggressive. I remember being greeted once at the door by 2 little sons of a friend of mine, and they just jumped all over me, basically attacked me.
This is the way we like it, fast and hard-hitting and clean.
And I thought, gee, 2 little girls have never done that when I came to the door.
You storm and take a position by sheer physical force.
Men are more physically aggressive, and of course, if it's not held in check, it could do a lot of damage. Women have to hold their natures in check, and men have to do it with their natures. Why, by the way, is all of this important at all? Because the better men and women understand each other, the more they'll accept each other's differences. And that can serve as a very big help in their relationship. That's why it's important to understand the other sex. And let me tell you something. The other sex is correct. In fact, the old term for it is the opposite sex. And in some ways, we are opposite sexes. But that is a very big deal about not taking things personally, and the fact that guys will hug after beating each other up and women won't. I have a story for you. The former president of Harvard University, Larry Summers, who was a member of the Clinton administration, a lifelong Democrat, a lifelong liberal, told this story while still president of Harvard University. The report. In his talk, Harvard President Larry Summers used as an example about the different temperaments of men and women. One of his daughters, who as a child was given 2 trucks in an effort at gender-neutral parenting. Trucks, always associated with boys. Yet, she treated them almost like dolls, naming one of them Daddy Truck and one Baby Truck. I think that's a very powerful story.
What's the matter, Paul? Are you hurt?
Women are more innately nurturing. This drives many people crazy. They don't want to believe it, particularly women of the world of higher education, or if you will, feminists. They rejected this idea at the outset. This was all socially induced. Women are not more nurturing. But it's really odd for people to say that, given that women give birth and that women are the mothers of children. If women were not more nurturing, it would be a very bad scene for the human race.
You must never, never touch those scissors, do you hear? You might put your eye out, baby.
As anyone who has a child with a member of the opposite sex has probably experienced, if the child at night moans, cries, it is overwhelmingly likely that the mother will hear this and the dad will continue snoozing. Is that not innate? Many people believe in evolution, and I'm certainly not here to argue pro or con on evolution. I'm merely here to say that if you are one of the many who do believe in evolution, you have to believe that the human race evolved for at least one of the sexes to be more nurturing with regard to the offspring than the other. That's the way it works. And one had to be more aggressive, conquer the world, while one is taking care of the domestic place. I'm merely pointing out what is a physiological fact, a physiological/psychological fact. Women are more nurturing. By the way, it's proved even in the macro, not just in the home, but in the macro. Women overwhelmingly are more likely to vote for the parties that want to nurture those in society who are, for example, poorer. They vote for the nurturing party. The one that promises more benefits is the one that they will more likely vote for. I'm not taking a position on it. I'm merely describing how women's natures will even be reflected with regard to the nurturing aspect in terms of how they vote.
We all know it takes a long time.
As one psychiatrist, Dr. Stephen Marmer, UCLA Medical School, as he said to me, and I quote him, "Women are optimized," it's a perfect word, optimized for taking care of a child. I don't see why that is even worthy of denial. And now to the toughest difference, because it's such a sensitive arena and it's one that causes so many problems between the sexes, and that is sex. Let's begin with what arouses each sex. They are not aroused identically. With men, it is, and this is key, and this is very, very hard for women to fully understand because it does not work the same way in women. Men are far more aroused by the visual.
Woody thought of Janice and how good-looking she was.
Hey, you look mighty pretty.
By the way, I have a perfect proof. That is how gay men are also aroused. That's proof this is not socialized. This is not something society does to acculturate men. Oh, you should look at women as sex objects. Gay men look at males as sex objects. By the way, it's not the only way men look at women. It's not the only way gay men look at men, although with some men, on a very brief hookup, it is. it would be for a heterosexual man on a brief hookup. But obviously, men love many things about women. However, the visual is the immediate, most powerful turn-on in the male. That is not true for the female. Of course, females are turned on by the looks of some men, but it's some men.
Tall, good looking, nothing at all like the trips around school.
This notion, whenever I've raised it on the radio, women will call up, "Oh, you're telling me I'm not turned on by a good-looking man?" I have never said that. I'm not saying that now. I'm just saying it's not comparable. After I gave a talk on this subject, this has to be at least 25 years ago, a guy in sales at my original radio station came over to me one day and he said, "Dennis, you have no idea how true this is about the visual. The other day I was walking past a department store and I caught myself looking up the skirt of a mannequin. If that doesn't prove the power of the visual in men, a mannequin, an inanimate object made out of plastic, women are not doing that."
All I want you to do, Carol, is explain everything to my wife, and then you can go home.
The visual is so overwhelmingly powerful in men that it is just that difficult in women to understand this. That is why men spend thousands of times more money, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe 1,000,000 times more on pornography than women do, solely because of the power of the visual.
In the wings of this theater, we have some of the most beautiful girls in the world.
I might add that none of this is a way of giving men a green light to act inappropriately. "Oh, I got turned on and I couldn't help myself." It's not an excuse. It's a problem. The ease with which men are stimulated by the visual is a problem. But the fact that reality poses a problem is not a reason for a mature person to dismiss the reality.
If you are but a dream.
So visual turns men on. What turns women on? The visual is only one of them, and it is not usually the biggest. The number of women who are attracted to men who are not particularly good-looking is almost equivalent to the number of men who are not particularly good-looking.
You don't think there's anything wrong with me?
Oh, forget it. I've got to go now. We'll talk about it some other time.
So I'll give you a little list of things that turn women on more than looks. No order of importance. Voice.
I have a secret, darling. I'm an awful fool.
Height. Brains. Personality. Money. Success. Fame. Power. Charm. Sense of humor. Confidence. By the way, a man doesn't need all of them, but some of them definitely are needed to turn a woman on. That's a much more complex list than the visual. Women are aroused by their minds, men are aroused by their eyes. Men are also aroused by their minds, and women are also aroused by their eyes. I'm totally aware of that. But if you want to be honest, there's no comparison between the two. Here's what a woman writer wrote. Good-looking guys are nice to look at, but good looks won't hold our interest for more than a few minutes. Your face and body are side dishes. The main course is how well you're able to engage us, to make us feel like we're at the center of your universe, if only for a short stint, which requires self-awareness and self-confidence. We'll swoon over how you hold yourself, walk, and talk, not how closely you resemble Brad Pitt. So it takes far more to arouse a woman than just seeing a good-looking man. I read of a study where they asked college-aged men to sit alone in a room for hours. No book, no TV, nothing, just sit alone. Same with same age group of young women. Then they asked them, what did you think about? Generally, the answer among men was sports and sex. Now, the answer of women was what really fascinated me as a man. I yawned when I heard what the men thought of. But the women was a revelation to me. The women reviewed conversations. Men don't review conversations as a general rule, just for the record. As I said earlier, they only remember the bottom line, but women remember the details. That's a very big difference. A friend of mine in high school, and I didn't expect this from him because he didn't strike me as a particularly active girl chaser, came over to me one day and said, Dennis, I did some questioning of some of the guys in the class, and I've come to the following conclusion. 1 out of every 10 thoughts a guy has is not about sex. After the power of the visual and what turns them on as being different is the variety. Men want variety. It is built into men. I'm always amazed at the men who are living with or married to truly gorgeous women, among the most gorgeous in the world. And then they will have an affair with a woman, sometimes who isn't half as good looking as their wife. Because what is moving them is the variety impulse in men. Men love women. Women love a man. That's a very big difference. By the way, these differences make for a lot of problems between the sexes. There's no doubt about it. But if you're a grown-up, you address life even when it's difficult, even when what you realize causes problems. That's what a grown-up does. Then you deal with it and you control yourself and you understand the opposite sex better. But to deny it is to be a child and not be willing to be a grown-up facing reality. Men want variety. That is the way we are made. Period. Gay men want variety and straight men want variety. Again, just for the record, this is not to absolve a man from controlling his nature. Men have a lifelong battle with their sexual nature. Good men win that battle. By the way, there are some good men who even lose that battle on occasion, or at least once. And they shouldn't have, and it was wrong. But it doesn't make the man necessarily bad. I mean, if he's a habitual cheater, this is not a good man. So this does not absolve men, but I want every woman watching this to understand the man in your life, if he's faithful, that's an achievement. It's bigger achievement than in most cases when a woman is faithful. If she loves her husband and they have some degree of a decent, intimate life, it is not a struggle in her life on a regular basis to stay faithful. But no matter how much a man loves his wife, he has to fight his nature. I know you'll never hear this, but it is true, and it is worth knowing. I suggested on my male-female hour on a couple of occasions that if your husband, for example, takes frequent business trips, you might just want to say to him at some point, honey, I know the temptations that are out there, and I just want you to know, I really appreciate your fidelity. It's a big deal for a man to know that you appreciate the battle that he has to go through with his nature. American Psychological Association, February 2013. A classic study, they called it a classic study, by Clark and Hatfield from 1989 found that men are much more likely than women to accept casual sex offers from people they find attractive. That's exactly right. That's part of the variety issue and the visual stimulation issue. It's built into men. Women are not wired as men are for casual sex. And we have too many proofs of the counter effects that the hookup culture, as it is called on college campuses, for example, the consequences that are so negative for so many women. Not all, nothing is all, but for most. So what has happened to women? What is the damage done by women being taught this nonsense that you have a male sexual nature and can find casual sex as enjoyable as men can? This is from the National Institute of Health, July 2013. The relationship between multiple sex partners and anxiety, depression, and substance dependence disorders. Yeah, the relationship. Australian family physician, December 2017. Psychological distress and risky sexual behaviors among women aged 16 to 25 years in Victoria, Australia. Psychological distress. A woman writing an anonymous column in The Guardian, again from the left, February 2008, expressed the problem this way, quote, "As a feminist, I believed the personal was political and that I had the right to the same sexual freedom as men. In reality, open relationships were a nightmare, painful, seething with repressed jealousy, and personally destructive." Women, since I was in college, have been taught that their natures are just like men's. Men can enjoy casual sex and a large number of different women, and by golly, why can't you? Well, I'll tell you why most women can't. Because they're not wired in that direction. Sex is just a physical act with just another male body. It doesn't do for women what the physical act with another female body does for men. Love and relationships. Both sexes want to be loved and to love. That's a given. But there is something additional that is different, and this is the way I put it. Men want to be admired by the woman they love. Women want to admire the man they love. That's a difference. It's a subtle difference, but it's a big difference. A man who loves a woman, he wants her to admire him. And she wants to admire the man that she loves. And finally, men have bigger brains, but it doesn't mean smarter. But both sexes get stupid, both do, when they don't think with their mind, but with another organ. In the case of the woman, the heart. In the case of the man, the penis. That can get you in a lot of trouble. Both sexes have a battle with one of their organs. It's never been put that way that I know of. I'm not trying to be original, but I admit it's probably a new thought. One of my courses for the master's program is on the moral obligation to be happy. You should make the decision to be happy, or at least to act happy, even if you're not. We are filled with moral obligations in our lives. You can become a really wonderful human being if you battle your nature. And in the sexual realm, and in the realm of the differences between the two sexes, it's most obvious. We each have our battles, and we should help each other master those battles. When done properly, the differences between men and women are sort of the proverbial jigsaw puzzle. Two very different pieces that fit almost perfectly. you.